Okay, we're going to call this meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, January the 20th, 2026. We're going to have Mayor Pro Tem Felicia Solomon call for the prayer. Yeah, he's here. Yeah, he's here. Yeah, he's here. Yeah. Yeah, he's here. Yeah. Bishop Chapman.
God bless all y'all. Join me as I pray. The mayor in this city, of this city council. God bless all y'all. Join Father me God, in the mighty name of Jesus, we just love everyone in the mayor in this city staff. Grace this city council and grace that will lead us. Father God, in the mighty name of Jesus, we just love everyone in the mayor in this city staff. Grace this city council and waking us up this morning, lead us. Father God, in the mighty name of Jesus, we just love everyone in the mayor in this city and we never see again. Grace this city council. Thank you, Lord, waking us up this morning, lead us. Father God, in the mighty name of Jesus, we just love everyone in the mayor in this city and we never see again. Grace this city council. Thank you, Lord, waking us up this morning, lead us. Father God, in the mighty name of Jesus, we just love everyone in the mayor. The Lord would make it never see again. Grace the city council. Thank you, Lord, for blessing this morning. We join Father God and starting a new year. Thank you, everyone in the Lord would make it. I would like to see grace the city council. Thank you, Lord, for blessing this morning. We join Father God and they be good stewards over what God has put in their care. That all the neighbors and all the citizens of Kinston be treated the same, and that the mayor of this city and the city managers and the staff, that God bless them and keep the office that they hold. All of us in this room have something we need from the Lord to do for us in this city. For the council that work it now, we pray that they, because they carry a heavy burden, that they need you, Lord, to help and guide them in the correct way. And may the God of peace, love, and joy keep them and us safe in this city. We pray that no one abuse the authority that they have been given. And in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Hardy.
Present.
Councilmember Aiken.
Present.
Councilmember Lipford.
Present.
Councilmember Seaforth.
Present.
And Mayor Pro Tem Solomon.
Present.
Thank you. The citizens' comment section. Citizens must sign in before the start of the meeting if they wish to address the city council. Citizens should state their name and address before beginning their comments and may speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. Citizens seeking assistance or asking questions will be contacted by a member of the governing body or by appropriate city staff. Madam Clerk, do we have anyone?
Yes, sir. Jeanette Blue.
Ms. Blue?
And while Ms. Blue comes forward, may I ask the bishop's name again, please?
Slade Chapman.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Sorry.
Good evening, and I'm happy to meet you, Mr. Mayor. I am standing here for the third time since I've been in Kinston for 5 years. and I have this one complaint on my block. I live at 615 Marcella Drive, and at 507 Marcella Drive, there has been an abandoned house that has not been boarded up since I've been here. The doors are wide open, the windows wide open, and I have stood before this council twice already. This is the third time, asking for some type of assistance because I do not feel safe on my block with this abandoned house being in this condition. That's my first thing, concern. Then I have another concern, and that's the ditch that's in the back of my house needs to be cleaned out by the city. I have asked them twice to come out, clean out that ditch, because when it's a heavy rain, I have water standing in my backyard. It's not fair to me. I don't think I should have to clean out that ditch. It belongs to the city. I called after the first complaint or put my ticket in. Took them months and months in order to even get back with me. And I called, and they told me that it's because of the fences. Now, I have a fence in my backyard, and also the projects have a fence. I don't understand what they're talking about, and I would like someone to come out and explain to me exactly why or what do I need to do in order for this condition to be addressed. Also, the Teachers Memorial School that was closed, and I understand it was sold 3 years ago. I just want to know what is in the plans for that school, because it is boarded up and it has been sitting there for at least 3 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay.
Robert Jones. Quala Blackwell.
Ms. Blackwell.
Good evening, y'all. I'm going to read this tonight because what I got to say deserves to be fully said, directly, and without anything left unsaid. I'm going to speak directly because the truth doesn't need decoration. What happened in this election, it was not a mistake, it was not confusion, and it was not some harmless oversight. It was a violation, plain and simple. Constitutional laws were broken, statutes were ignored, and the very people who were supposed to defend the integrity of the process sat back and watched it unfold and said absolutely nothing. So let's be clear. Nothing about this election was done with integrity. From the interference from the police, to the lewd conduct by the board, to the premature certification of our mayor. Let's be clear. We don't have a legally certified mayor. North Carolina General Statutes 163.182.15 clearly says a certification can only take place after that appeal process closed. What's wrong, Mr. Cauley? And understand this. Anything outside of God's will gain, you got to stay in God's will to keep it. To anyone that believe that you guys are teaming up against me, y'all gonna win? Never. I fought a lot of battles with God. I won them all. And in this one, I won't be defeated. Trust that. Now to the council that was sworn in properly this January the 6th, like you were supposed to be. We talked about policies. We talked about ordinances. We talked about forensic audits on this campaign trail. For me, that wasn't just some campaign garb. Those were commitments. And we're going to hold you guys to those commitments. You know, on this campaign trail, I saw everybody focusing on what their organization could get, what properties and all that stuff. Hey, we got to start from, in order to build a good house, we got to start from the foundation. There's no need to build nothing else here, bring nothing else here until we got the policies put in place that when we do bring it here, it'll stand strong. So, while we talking about leadership, I hope they pay close attention to you, Mr. Harrell. They went behind closed doors and hired you and didn't give us a choice. Because I would have wanted to know how you went to Benson in June of 2025. And by July, the auditors had to come in and declare them broke. I ain't saying you did it, but I'm saying a lot can happen in 2 months. You didn't make it better for them. So I'm wondering why you're here. And for my closing, those people that I've been talking about, the homeless people, the people like me that are looked over, that are mistreated, don't have nowhere to go, nobody to run
Ms.
to.
Blackwell, your time's expired.
Okay, do something for the homeless like you promised.
Madam Clerk, would there be any others?
Yes, sir, Mr. Thurl Branch.
Mr. Branch?
My name is Star Branch. I live at 1204 Macon Street. I like to first start off by congratulating Kareem as being the new mayor-elect. I also like to thank Mayor Don Hardy for a job well done. All the people on the city council who've been here for a long time, then you know who I am. I'm surprised my time ain't started because when BJ was here, it was starting early. That's one thing I would like to address. I do like to talk up here because when I was coming in here complaining and making comments before, I was cheated out a lot of time, and it used to be 5 minutes for business owners and homeowners to speak. BJ once again stopped that from happening because he didn't want to hear what people had to say. So I hope this new city council will take an advantage that you have and replace the old rules of 5 minutes, because trying to get some of these thoughts out in 3 minutes is kind of limiting the process of knowledge and for you can elaborate on certain things. Well, Felicia, Sammy, all the OGs, I appreciate seeing y'all. Les, congratulations. Job well done. A lot of y'all wouldn't be in them seats though without me and the sacrifices that I have made. Don't fall ball of your face. As soon as I said that, let's face squish right up. Yeah, before you ever came around, buddy, you don't know nothing about this. I lost a lot of time and effort in here fighting for what's right. And I sacrificed my whole life doing so. Like, I lost my business, family, a lot of friends, home, freedom. So I want y'all to take in accountability that this thing that y'all sitting up here to vote on, make sure that when you vote on it, you're thinking about all the citizens in Kinston, not just the people who are in your corner or in your ear. I probably wouldn't be up here because I kind of left this stuff alone. I had to fight so many fights, and most of you didn't see them because they was in the dark, but I fought them all. I seen them all. But I told BJ that if he ever ran for office again, he would hear my voice again. Mayor Kareem, that's, we grew up as kids, so we family. However, when your first picture I saw you with BJ, and it kind of hurt my heart because, like I said, he targeted me and several other business owners downtown to take our businesses, and it worked. I told y'all 10 years ago he was gonna try to take my club and turn it to a theater. Okay, now it's a theater. I could tell you a lot of other things, but like I said, with 3 minutes, it's very limited what you can say. So, once again, I just want to leave y'all in the words of some of my great ancestors. As Martin Luther King would say, injustice for one is injustice for all. Mr. Clayton would say, you can make a difference. And that's each and every one of you. Thank you for your time. And I hope y'all have a blessed and successful journey throughout y'all process.
Thank you, Mr. Branch. Appreciate it. Madam Clerk,
There are no others, sir.
no others. Okay, let's move on. If a council member wishes to revise the agenda, a motion to add or delete an item will be entertained at this time. Anybody? No one? Okay. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
Motion.
Motion by Councilmember Hardy, second by Councilmember Lifford. All vote in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed have the same right. Motion carried. Okay. Next order of business is, let's consider the minutes from December 2nd, 2025, December 16th, 2025, and December 23rd, 2025. We'll entertain a motion to, January 6th, where? Okay, January 6th, 2026, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Sammy Aiken, second by Councilmember Seaforth. All in favor, vote by saying yea.
Yeah.
All opposed? Motion carried. Okay, presentations and recognitions. We want to invite Chief Chad Jackson up and Lieutenant Fredrick Riechle.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Stand before you tonight to inform all of you that Lieutenant Fredrick Riechle III has completed 40 hours of chaplaincy training in the following areas: critical incident stress management, PTSD, trauma, grief and loss, depression, suicide, disaster response, death notification, confidentiality, and ethics, to name the main ones. We all know what our fire department personnel see and have to deal with on a day in and day out basis. I feel this will help with the preservation of the mental health of our department. Members need to have access to someone they can trust and feel has a good understanding of what they're feeling. And it is for this reason, and knowing that the help is accessible within our department, I'm very proud of Lieutenant Riechle. He came to me and wanted to do this on his own for our department and other people within the city that may need some assistance. And he took it on and he did a wonderful job. So I wanted him to be acknowledged. And there's your certificate. Thank you, sir.
Sir, appreciate it.
If you want to say
I'm being told to say something. So. Being asked. Thank you for the opportunity to do this, Chief Jackson. I will do the best that I can, and I appreciate the effort you gentlemen and ladies put in for our department. It means a lot to us as an organization. I know sometimes it may seem like we take a lot, but we appreciate it, all that you guys do. And like I said, let's see what we got with this. And like I said, I appreciate the offer. Excuse me, she's trying to not.
Wait, said she tried it. She tried it.
Good go. She tried it.
Happy birthday, by the way.
Happy birthday.
Okay. Next order of business will be to consider the approval of the ordinance to establish the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency. We'll have Donna Goodson, Finance, to come up and talk about that.
Thank you, Mayor. On December 23rd, 2025, the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency awarded the City of Kinston a grant in the amount of $182,000 to provide interest-free and deferred forgiven loans to program-eligible homeowners to pay for certain rehabilitation costs to a homeowner's house. The grant is a pass-through from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Agency's Home Investment CPD Federal Award Project, and as such, it does require that the city establish a special revenue fund to account for the expenditures. Tonight, I present the ordinance to adopt the Special Revenue Fund, the NCHFA 2027 Essential Single Family Rehabilitation Project.
Okay. I entertain a motion to consider the approval of the ordinance of the North Carolina Housing Finance.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, before you put that motion, can I make a quick statement, please?
Go ahead.
Just want to say thank Ms. Goodson and the planning department for finding those grants for us. It's very important that we let the public know that we're seeking ways to help them fix up their properties. We have this program about every year, and we just want to thank y'all for going out and finding that grant. It's truly appreciated, and we know that the selection of the folks that apply for this grant will be well deserving of it. And we just want to make that clear to everybody that we are doing things positive to try to help our community. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Right, no problem. Yeah, that is a great program, and they're working hard to expand that also so that we can include more people as we go forward. But that is a great program. So let's entertain a motion to adopt that. We have a motion? Is that you?
Chairwoman.
Chairwoman. That was you? Pro Tem Solomon? Was that?
Yes.
Okay. We got a motion by Pro Tem Solomon. Can I get a second? We got a second by Councilmember Les Lippert. All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed have the same right. Seeing none, motion carried. Okay, let's go back. We're going to consider the approval of the ordinance to establish fiscal year 25 community-oriented policing services. That'll also be presented by Ms. Goodson.
Thank you, Mayor. The Office of Community-Oriented Policing Services, or COPS, at the Department of Justice has awarded a grant in the amount of $51,270 to the City of Kinston Police Department. The funds will be used to offset costs associated with the City of Kinston Police Department seeking accreditation through the CALEA and the NCLEA. This will be funded by a federal grant and requiring no local match. So tonight I present to you the ordinance to adopt the Special Revenue Fund.
Okay. Any questions, council? Anybody? Okay. So I will entertain a motion to consider approval to establish fiscal year 25 community-oriented policing services. Got a motion from Councilmember Lippert.
Second.
Second from Councilmember Hardy. All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed have the same right. Seeing none, motion carried. Okay, one more. We consider the approval of the ordinance fiscal year 254, Law Enforcement Mental Health and Wellness Act. That'll also be presented by Ms. Goodson.
Thank you, Mayor. The Office of Community-Oriented Policing Services has also awarded a grant in the amount of $136,020 to the City of Kinston Police Department, where the funds will be used to implement a comprehensive initiative to improve the psychological health, emotional resilience, and overall well-being of the City of Kinston sworn officers and civilian personnel. This too will be funded with federal grant proceeds and requiring no local match. So I do bring to you the ordinance to establish a special revenue fund.
Great. Okay, we entertain a motion at the time to consider the approval of the ordinance for the law enforcement mental health program. Motion from Councilmember Lippert, second.
Second.
Second from Councilmember Seaforth. All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed have the same right. Seeing none, motion carried. Okay, have Mr. Miller consider approval of bid for the belt filter press refurbishment project to Andritz in the amount of $295,000. $295,850 plus a 10% contingency. Mr. Miller, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. The adopted budget includes an appropriation of $300,000 for the refurbishment of a belt filter press at our wastewater treatment plant. The belt filter presses are part of the process that actually squeezes the biosolids that come out of the process to remove water. The contracts that handle disposal of biosolids are based on weight and volume. So if we can reduce that weight and volume, we pay less for the disposal, which is the whole purpose of having the belt press. So the belt press that's in there now was built when the plant was refurbished in 2007. So it's nearly 20 years old. And it has started to fail. We've had some issues where it's had to get shut down and had to be repaired and brought back up, which triggered this project to go ahead and refurbish it so we don't have the untimely shutdowns for it. Bids for the project were accepted December 19th. There are lump sum bids with a base bid and an alternate bid. And the difference between the base bid and the alternate was whether you go ahead and replace all of the rollers that are inside the belt press or if you refurbish them. The replacement bid came in at $381,356. The base bid, which was for refurbishment, was $295,805. So significant cheaper to refurbish it. We have had a lot of discussions with our city engineer, our staff that operates the plant, as well as talking to consultants, trying to figure out if refurbishment made sense or not. The difference in expected life, if you refurbish the rollers versus replace it, is about 5 years. So we expect to get 15 to 20 years with the refurbished rollers before we have to do another project on the belt press, versus 20 to 25 if we bought new. So for the extra $90,000 to replace them all, we feel like our money's better spent to refurbish it, and not do the full replacement. So we'd have the lower cost up front. One thing that will happen when we start to tear the belt press apart, they will inspect all of the rollers. And when they get ready to refurbish it, there is a possibility they will find some rollers that need to be replaced, but not replacing all of them. The rollers that are inside the belt press, there's 14 of them. They range in size from 8-inch diameter to 16-inch diameter. So some of them are pretty big, but we do not feel like very many of them are going to have to be replaced. So what we're recommending is to award this bid for the base bid to Andritz in the amount of $295,805. We do want to recommend a 10% contingency be included in the award in case any of those rollers do have to be replaced. That way that work could proceed without having to come back to council first and delaying the project. If we do this, then the total award would be $325,385.50. As I said, there's $300,000 budgeted. So if council approves this award tonight with the contingency, then we will come back at a subsequent council meeting with a budget amendment to add the additional $25,385.50 to cover the contingency. We would pull that money from the wastewater capital reserve fund. We have closed some other projects recently, making funds available in there. So it doesn't have to come from the wastewater fund balance. It doesn't come from the general fund. It would come from the capital reserve and the wastewater fund. So I'll be glad to answer any questions y'all may have.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question. When this first started about over 10 years ago, it's supposed to have been a money-making venture, turning into the fertilizer and things like that. I know we had a big problem with the gas line or something supplying gas to it, and we put almost $500,000 or something like that, if my figures are correct, into it. We really never made a profit off of this, have we?
The project you're thinking of, it happened a while back, was actually for a dryer. which would even further dry this biosolids. Project and that piece of equipment that we got came from Europe. It has been very difficult trying to keep it maintained and keep the equipment running. So you're correct. It has not turned a profit. It has been very difficult to even keep it in operation. The belt press is something we installed back in 2007 to make a Class B product. Class B products can't be sold commercially, but they can be used on farm fields for like livestock crops, other non-consumable crops for humans. So it can be used that way, which has been our historic way of handling the biosolids disposal. We're still working on the dryer, trying to get it more reliable so that it could be used and actually change our product from Class B to Class A, which could be marketed.
So paying this 10,000 extra, we already budgeted for this 300,000, right? I'm thinking we already budgeted for the 300,000 and we just paying the extra 25,000.
The extra 25,000 would be contingency in case rollers had to be replaced. If we don't include contingency monies, then if council awards for 295,000 exactly, if one roller has to be replaced, we have to stop, come back to council, ask for the money for that roller, and then go back and do it again if it gets approved. By having the contingency, it allows the project to continue to move if those little costs come into play during construction, things that we can't identify today.
And no other costs will come up because we're giving up the 25,000, right?
The contingency could be used for anything. Our concerns are rollers and the refurbishments. That is really the only thing we can't see today that we think could be an issue that we might have to have money for.
The replacement of the rollers, would this be a problem as far as getting parts for this project?
The rollers, the person that provided these bids, they all bid to either replace them or refurbish them. So they can get replacement rollers. If they find some that are bad, there'd be some delay, probably be a couple of weeks to get them on site and shipped to us. But it's not like a year like we hear on some equipment.
Yeah, if you don't replace the rollers, we don't spend any contingency. Okay. That was kind of, okay.
Basically what Steve is saying is everything is paid for. Only if you run into a problem, then it may cost us something different.
Right. Any more discussion? More questions? Nobody? All right. I entertain a motion.
Motion.
It's been motioned by Councilmember Hardy. And second by Councilmember Lippert. All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed have the same right. Seeing none, motion carried. Thank you, Steve. Okay. So our next order of business is to consider appointing a search consultant to conduct a search for the new city manager. That'll be presented by attorney Tim Caraway. They got James' name down here.
That's okay, Jim. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So what's in your agenda packet and what was previously obtained were 3 proposals for a professional search committee and consultant for a new city manager for the long term. Those consultants were Raftellus, Development Associates LLC, and Polyhire. I'm going to briefly go through their proposals, kind of summarizing the best I can. If you have any details I may be able to answer them, but they should be in your packet as well. And so what we're looking for is consensus and then a vote, motion, and approval for authorizing that we proceed with hiring one of the consultants to start the process. The proposals are similar in that they all have generally the same process of meeting with council in this group to formulate what the manager profile, or basically what the job description looks like. And then moving forward, they will send that out to associations like, for example, the North Carolina League of Municipalities, County Managers Association, City Managers Association, at the state and national levels. And some of them also use social media like LinkedIn and different things to put it out there. They receive resumes and interests. They will, generally, all three of them will sort out which ones meet the general qualifications and which do not, to save us time for doing that. And then present them to the council for review. We can proceed to do interviews. That's the general format for all of them. The first one in your packets is a company called Riechle. The lead contact there is Miss Ann Lewis. Ms. Lewis is was formerly with another firm that the city has used in the past to look for city managers. They are currently assisting the town of Matthews in North Carolina recruit a manager as well. They divided their scope of the work into three, what they call activities. The first is the development of that candidate profile, which they estimate taking 2 to 3 weeks. They would meet with the mayor, council, and my office to develop that job description we want. And they also develop first-year priorities for a new manager, what the council would like to see the new manager accomplish in their first year. The second activity they'll do is conduct an outreach and initial screening, which is the advertising phase. Again, going out to those different associations in the public sector to advertise that the job is open and what it entails. They estimate that to be in a 5 to 6 week process. And then the third activity is their support for the interviews and selection of the candidate. So this consultant will coordinate the scheduling and logistics of the interviews that will be conducted here in chambers in person by the board. If a top candidate is identified, then they will proceed with a background check of this individual and then help the city negotiate the compensation package in terms of employment with whoever the council selects. Average timeline starting from conducting the interviews is between 14 and 16 weeks all in. So about 3 to 3.5 months from the time that we tell them you're hired, let's get going, to when they project conducting interviews and having those done is about 3 to 3.5 months. For the services, they do charge a fixed fee of $34,300. Additional fees and costs to the city with this consultant would be advertising costs, so paying a fee to advertise it in these association boards and that sort of thing. They've got a not to exceed $2,500 cap on that. Background checks, and we can do that at any level of applicant that we want, not to exceed $500 each. And then down the road in the process, when we bring candidates into interview, the city reimburses those candidates for their travel if they had to stay overnight, if they're far away, for coming and interviewing for that. So those are costs above the fee that the consultant charges for their services. What you'll see is common practice in this market is for this particular consultant, if we were to hire anybody else in their candidate pool, let's say for another position within the city, we would, within 6 months after the final interviews, we will owe them an additional $15,000 fee because they brought that person to our attention. So this is how that business works. They have additional services available, community focus groups. They can outreach, citizens and different business owners in the community to get their input on city direction and what they would like, and they can report that back to the council. That's an additional fee of $2,500 if the council selects that. In-person public meetings, like those focus groups, but they're doing them in person, is an additional $5,000 fee. They also offer leadership coaching at $260 an hour, and they can facilitate in-house training of employees and stuff beyond the manager hire. That is Riechle. The other consultant we received a proposal from is Developmental Associates, LLC. They are based in North Carolina. They've been in business about 30 years. They have previously worked with the city of Kinston as well, recruited prior chief of police and the prior chief of the fire department, and they've recently worked with the city of Goldsboro, city of Wilson. The lead contact there is Mr. Stephen Strauss. I believe he might be Dr. Stephen Strauss. They have a similar scope of work divided into 11 steps. That includes development of job description profiles, attending meetings with the city council. This consultant emphasizes evaluations including emotional intelligence testing and skill-based testing during the recruitment process as an option. They also utilize what they call assessors, which they will reach out to other city managers, others, maybe even city employees here, to review applications and score them anonymously and report that back to us as part of the recruitment process.
Hey, Tim, could
yes,
you
sir.
please speak into the mic a little bit, please? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. My apologies. They propose, in the end, a selection of 2 to 3 finalists that they'll bring to the city for interviews and conduct background checks at that point, if a finalist is selected. They estimate a 61-day timeline to complete development of the recruiting materials and screening of the candidates. So whereas the other one was about 3 months, they are 2 months, but they don't include time to bring the candidates in for interviewing, making a decision, negotiating an agreement, right? So I think that could easily be a couple more weeks to a month, depending on schedule. So even though it says 61 days, I think their timeline from start to hopefully having a candidate in place is going to be similar. This, I'm sorry? This is the second one, Development Associates. Yep. They have a base fee of $25,500 for their services. That fee is due upon the skills assessment process. So out of the 11 steps, about step 7 or 8, so a little more than halfway through the process is when they expect payment. That base fee does not include the emotional intelligence testing. That's $350 per candidate if the city decides they want to do that as part of the screening process. Their base fee does not include background checks. The vendor that they used estimates $2,250 each for a background check. It does not include advertising expenses, which they estimate between $1,500 and $2,500. And does not include covering the costs for finalists to travel and be interviewed here in person as well. Their proposal includes 4 meetings with the city council along the way, but they are all virtual meetings. So if you want one of these consultants to be in person and appear, they charge an additional fee for that and their travel time as well for that. So a little different than the first consultant that has, I believe, 2 in-person appearances as part of theirs. Any additional work we would like for them to do, they do it at a flat rate of $300 per hour. The third and final consultant is a company called Polyhire. They're based in Virginia. They have some presence in Goldsboro. They've been in business for around 20 years. Mr. Kenyatta Uzel is the CEO. He would be the point of contact on this. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he may be originally from Goldsboro. Okay. Locally, they've assisted Wake County, Durham County, the city of Durham, city of Chapel Hill. Their scope of work is divided into 6 steps. They do more initial screening of the applicants. They interview the initial top candidates to ensure they meet the requirements before recommending any final interview candidates to the city. And they will also assist the city with negotiating an employment offer. And they also offer a follow-up to ensure the transition of the new manager into the role is going smoothly. They estimate 120 days, which is 3 months, 16, 19, 4 months, to complete the process between starting and then conducting the final interview. So again, that 3 to 4 month process seems to be a ballpark for about everybody. There's a chart in your brochures and your agenda packet showing the estimated timelines for each step in the process. They charge a flat fee of $33,000. Additional expenses to the city with this consultant, again, is the candidates travel to Kinston to appear in person for the interview. They also have optional emotional intelligence testing and screening. It doesn't state that I could find what the cost of that is in the brochure, but that's going to be an additional cost. That $33,000 fee is divided into 4 installments. And so there's certain benchmarks they have to hit to continue to get paid. The $11,000 is due up front upon hiring and initiation of the search. $11,000 more in 30 days after the start of the search. And then the balance is $5,500 60 days out from the start of the search, and then the remaining $5,500 upon completing the search. If the city hires anyone else from their pool of candidates within 1 year of completing the search, the city will pay a $25,000 fee for each candidate hired. Again, that's common in this industry. This company offers what they call a guarantee. So if a manager is selected and hired and they are terminated for cause, or they voluntarily resign. Now, voluntarily resign meaning it's not a situation where it's either you resign or you're going to be terminated. It's they completely voluntarily resign. So terminated for cause or voluntarily resignation within 1 year of being hired, they will conduct another search at no additional cost except for the cost of advertising and travel that would be considered by the city. So that's a summary of all three consultants and the proposals that we received for the city. What we recommend, you've heard timelines of 3 months to 4 months, is let's go ahead and get started with the search process. It does take time to find the right candidate. So I'll turn the floor back over to the mayor and the council. If I can answer the questions, I will do my best to do that. But I do recommend we try to pick a consultant and move forward if we can. We just need a motion and a vote.
Mr. Mayor, I could add one additional thing on the timeline, and that is you need to realize that if you hire somebody that's already working as a city manager someplace else, you're talking about a 30 to 60 day notice to their current employer. So that could push you out to a maximum of 6 months. If they're not employed, you might get somebody in about 30 days. But I just thought you should know that those timelines are is up to the hiring and acceptance, not how long it takes them to get here.
May I also add something to the timeline? Once you have chosen the candidate, we will need to do a budget amendment before we can sign the contract, because we have to have it in place that the money is available. So that does leave another, earlier than 2 weeks, because we'll have to have an operating budget amendment in place.
The last time I hired somebody, we was offered about 38 candidates, and we had to narrow it down to 4. And the 4 is the one that we invited here, and we paid the travel and all for the final 4. So probably do the same thing this time, or how did it work?
It may be the same situation, Councilman Aiken. It just depends on the qualified candidates that they receive. They may screen through them, and if they get 20, 17 may not be qualified to meet all the requirements, so we only get 3. But we may get 10 very good ones, and they're going to be communicating with us along the way. If there are 10 great candidates, the council may decide, let's meet all 10 of them. So that's just going to depend on the candidates that are applying.
Tim, I'm just curious. I like how one of these firms does the initial conversations with stakeholders. I'm just curious on who decides what stakeholders are in these, small cluster groups.
Which consultant was that? Because I remember that language too.
That's Polyhire.
Polyhire. So I want to make sure I read it directly from the proposal here. So that was part of the initial conversation they're going to have with stakeholders. And the way I've read it is you have the option to create like a search subcommittee if you wanted to, if you get other department heads or people from the city involved in that conversation just for that, or just limit it to council and mayor and manager. But you can create the stakeholders. They're just calling it generally stakeholders because different cities may create a separate subcommittee. Other cities may leave it just to the council and the mayor. So the stakeholders is really a fluid definition. We can pick who we want to involve in that. So that will be up to us. They don't get to pick who that's going to be.
I don't have a question, Tim, I just want to make a statement. We've been through this process before, and it's a tedious journey going down this road when you're talking about selecting a manager. And for the public, we always say be transparent about money. Well, this is it. This not gonna be a $33,000 down the road thing here. You're talking at least $70,000, $80,000. So we don't want, by the comments made here at this meeting, and we having to take a vote tonight or maybe the next meeting. What I'm hearing now is take a vote tonight. So when the final numbers come out, don't want everybody to throw mud at this council and the mayor about what the cost's gonna be. Because everybody wanna be transparent, everybody wanna know where their money going. Now you see, from this conversation, there's gonna be more than what a lot of people think. So we just wanna make that clear to the public and all those that are listening.
Got something? And so being around and talking about the situation, this is gonna be a tedious, it ain't, I got citizens that think we can just hire the manager and it can go cheap. It's not gonna be cheap. And this is a process they gotta do. And I hope everybody understands that as far as the citizens. I know we got a lot of people taking the 101 class and they learning a lot of how the government works. And I don't want y'all to bash us because we got to pick somebody. Because we got to pick somebody. And it's going to cost about $50,000 to pick that person. At least.
The last time they found 4, we had one gentleman from Texas, one lady from Florida, one from Chapel Hill, and we had Miss Bark here. So we had to pay for the travel and hotels and all of that. So.
Well, I mean, you guys heard the concerns from the council members, and they're honest about what they're saying. I mean, if you look at this proposal and you go deeper into the, you get deep into it, you see there are other costs that are gonna be incurred as we search for these managers, and they don't come cheap. Especially with poly hire, I'm looking here now, and there's an additional $25,000 fee on top of this $33,000 fee. So, in the spirit of transparency, this is what we're dealing with, but we gotta have a city manager. And we gotta have a good one. I mean, and they're not cheap, and they're hard to come by. So, as we go forward, you will see us operate just like this in real time. So, we're gonna deal with it as we get it.
And then, Mayor, if you don't mind, and we see these fees. We see these fees as $34,000 from one company, $34,300 base. Then we got another company that says $25,500 base. And the other company is $33,000 base. Some people would look at it and be like, well, let's just hire the least expensive. Don't work like that. Because a lot of the $25,000 base might have nothing to offer that the $33,000 or the $34,000 base. Then you got added costs. So with that being said, just be mindful. This is what we got to pick.
Mr. Mayor, Council, I would just like to share, I was definitely interested in poly hire. I love the idea that they include stakeholders outside of the council, which includes, department heads, members of the community, business owners. I love the fact that we create what those stakeholders look like. So if we were to decide tonight, after we, considering we have looked over this, I personally like poly hire. And also in the consideration of some of the municipalities that they've served.
Right. We have a prior relationship with Strauss though, right?
Yeah, with,
And
and Miss Ann Lewis,
The Development Associates?
yes. No, not with development,
The first one,
Rallies.
Yeah, I believe Miss Lewis
Rotellus.
with Rutellis was formerly with a company called Baker Tilly,
Right.
and I think they did our last manager search. Is that
Mhm.
okay?
And they did a great job.
Fantastic job.
So, I mean, somebody we dealt with before, I felt like, and I don't disagree with Mayor Pro Tem either. I just break it down to those two. And just, I think Ms. Lewis pretty much know the staff pretty well. But that's up to the council what their decision is.
My only well, that was Baker Tillis.
Yeah.
What, the word, with Ann Lewis. I don't know if they offer that part. I know we didn't have it at the last search. I know when we hired the previous fire chief, as well as, when Chief James came, there was stakeholder, involvement. And so I'd like the piece about including those stakeholders.
And, Mr. Merle, Harold, you've been interim for several cities, and you've worked with different new managers, old managers, and what is your input? I know you'll be helping us along the way, but you should give us some valuable input.
Yes, sir. I would say that, first of all, I think the search firm is the best way to go to find the best candidate for Kinston. You see that other cities are doing the same thing. I've been through search committees myself in my career. One of the things that you could consider is you could have the stakeholder piece brought in with the other two if you want to. That would be something that would not be that difficult to add to it. So you could pick Ann Lewis and Ralph Ellis and go with the stakeholder. The stakeholders it would be a good process because you're going to have the public as well as the department heads as part of the process. I went through one where you basically sat down with the department heads and they had some input as to how they felt about that, who their next boss is going to be.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
So with that being said, you guys want to entertain a motion? How you feeling?
I like Rotellus because we worked with Miss Lewis before, and she did a thorough job. Because they found out one of the candidates in the final four, there was no a police record. She found out there was a recent police incident where we disqualified him. But I'm in favor of Rotellus.
I make a motion that we take a vote on Ralph Tiller's,
I was thinking about,
just do a consensus, okay.
only thing about it is we need to look at poly hire too, because I kindly researched all that last night. And before we came to this meeting, I looked into poly hire.
Well, that's 2-2.
Ms. Seaford, you're the
You're on the spot, Ms. Seaford. Do a roll call.
All right. Okay, we'll go ahead and entertain a motion, all right? We're going to entertain a motion to consider appointing a search consultant to conduct the search for the new city manager. We have a motion.
I make a motion that we go with Ralph Tillis.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Hardy, second by Councilman Aiken, that we consider appointing a search consultant for the new city manager. All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay. Roll call.
Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Hardy,
Yes for Ralph Tillis.
Councilmember Aiken,
Yes, for Ralph Tillis and add, the stakeholders.
and add stakeholders. Is that? Councilmember Seaforth,
Yes, and add the stake, Ralph Tillis and add the stakeholders.
Councilmember Solomon.
No.
Did I call you already?
Not yet.
Oh. I'm sorry, Mayor Pro Tem Solomon.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Lipford.
No, I wanted Polly higher.
Ralph Tillis is 3-2.
Okay. Motion passed.
Are you saying that we could add two, but adding two gonna cost more money?
Okay. All right, do we have any appointments? City manager, you have anything to report?
No, sir, not at this time. I would like to just say that at your next council meeting, I will be bringing forward a calendar for your steps of putting your budget together for the new fiscal year.
Thank you. City attorney,
Nothing to report, Your Honor.
any council member?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. I got a couple of things. First of all, I want to announce that the Recreation Department has some vacancies for their Recreation Department Committee. I think we have anywhere from 2 to 3. So if you know anybody that's interested in being on the Rec Committee, it's a volunteer position. It is a volunteer position to be on the Rec Commission. Just want to make that clear. And also, we just started our youth basketball program here in the city of Kinston. I would really like for the public to get out and support these young kids. It's every year we have basketball, football, baseball, and I just don't see enough people out here supporting our young people. But we know that they are our future. And I feel like even as council members as well, we need to get out and support our young people, let them know that we support what they're doing. We normally invite whoever wins championships or whatever here to the chamber, and we recognize them. So I feel like it's important that we go out in the public and make our faces known that we're supporting our young people. So I just want to make those two comments. Thank you.
I would just like to share about 2 opportunities. You know, it's been said a community is only as strong as the support that it gives its most vulnerable citizens. On February the 6th, the Friends of the Homeless is having a fundraiser, a bingo game, a $20 donation at the Exchange, and that's on February the 20th. And, you know, those proceeds go to the Friends of the Homeless. So definitely would ask for the members of the city, council, and as well as the members of this community, even if you can't go that night, to please make a contribution. Also,
Is it?
no, that's February the 6th. Okay, I'm sorry, excuse me. $20. That's where the 20 came from. Thank you. It's $20. Right. And on January the 30th, the Council on Aging will be at the exchange as well, for another fundraiser, for the Council on Aging. And it's just really important to support, these two, organizations that do an amazing work. When we look at the growth, that we've seen under the leadership of, Mr. Dunk at the Friends of the Homeless, that support is appreciated. And the work that happens under the direction of and the leadership of Betsy Griffith and the seniors that actually attend the Council on Aging. So just encourage you all. I will ask the PIO if she could post that to our city page. Also, I would ask the members of our community, I was a little disheartened to discover this, and unfortunately, we can't make it happen from this upcoming primary. But upcoming primary, there are going to be, I think, 2 or 3 voting sites. One of the voting sites happens to be Teachers Memorial. And what's disheartening about that is the fact that those adolescents and those children will be in the middle of their tournament. And so I would just ask that, in the future, it's best to let our voices be known now, that when we consider the fact that there are other buildings within our community that can be used, I call the question why we would disrupt the activity, for those children, especially in what some would consider a marginalized community, and with children in the middle of their tournament. So the question is, what do we do with the children? And so what do we know? They've done it before. Voting Northwest Elementary School is no longer used as a voting precinct. Why? They want to disrupt the kids. The gym at Emma Webb, the aerobics, that's no longer used as a voting precinct. Why? They want to disrupt the kids. And so, I just ask that you make your concerns known to the Board of Elections, that as we consider the upcoming basketball seasons, that we take Teachers Memorial off the books. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem, I think that's something we probably need to address with the county commissioners. I think they are in charge of the Board of Elections.
So actually, the Board of the Elections, they voted on the precincts. And so there was an attempt for them to consider not selecting teachers because of the fact that it is the basketball season. So that board, they actually vote on the sites that will serve as voting precincts.
Okay. Also, I just want to add one other thing. To Miss Betsy Griffin and to Mr. Dunk, you know that I have your back 100%. I just want to make that public. They're known that I have supported both of those organizations since I returned here from the military, and I will continue to support you.
All right. With that being said, we're going to move to adjourn. I do want to encourage everybody that Kinston 101 program is a great program if you want to come out and get involved and learn more about what's going on in the city, with the government, what's going on with the department heads. It's a great opportunity to kind of figure out what's going on behind the scenes, and everything that you see on the internet is not exactly how things work when you get behind the scenes. So you can see us today, discussing this hiring of the manager and stuff like that. Sometimes those things come up. You guys will never see that if we're not having those conversations and stuff like that. So I appreciate the panel today for, continue to drive forward with transparency so everybody be informed, because sometimes we're going to have to make some hard decisions. And the more you know, the more we grow. So, with that being said, we're gonna move to adjourn. Motion. Motion to adjourn from Mayor Pro Tem Solomon, second from Councilman Lifford. All in favor? All opposed? I didn't think so. Thank you. Adjourn. Thank you. God bless.